team, and happy Monday again. Mr. McCarthy here with the second piece in our latest leadership insight on the subject of servant leadership. Today I want to start our focus on the 7 essential practices of servant leadership. These 7 practices are divided into 2 categories: internally focused and externally focused. So today I'm going to start with those in the area of internal focus, and next week I'll take a look at external focus. Of the 7 essential practices of servant leadership, 3 fall into the category of internal focus. They may or may not be more important than another, but these are 3 critically important practices. These are self-awareness, listening, and changing the pyramid. And if you take nothing else away from this post, take away the fact that self-awareness and listening are, in my opinion, the 2 most powerful skills that any great leader has sharpened in their toolbox. So, self-awareness. A true servant leader is aware of their strengths and their weaknesses, their biases and imperfections, but can always make fair and just judgments. Self-awareness is a journey that never really ends, and also our unconscious biases are a tricky road on that journey that maybe is another subject we can pursue in another insight. Unconscious bias is another really fascinating subject. A true servant leader builds on these strengths and the strengths of others. They're less likely to judge, more likely to encourage. They are a partner and a collaborator. And they must understand the effect that their position and assumed power has on the people around them, and understand that their mood and their emotions are contagious. I always say that the ability to inspire is the key to leadership, and you cannot do that without enthusiasm and positivity. So remember that, the mood and your enthusiasm is contagious. So self-awareness, the only way you be able to really have that effect is to be aware of the mood and the amount of positivity and the energy that you give off, and that's really what it's all about. Next, listening. Not just hearing, but what I call active listening. There's a great quote I really like from Larry King, the great broadcaster and TV presenter, that goes, "I remind myself every morning that nothing I say today will teach me anything. So if I'm going to learn, I must do it by listening." And a servant leader is always focused on identifying and meeting the needs of others. They listen with full attention and without bias. So, active listening. How often have you found yourself in the middle of a conversation? You may be even doing it right now as you listen to this video. How often have you found yourselves in the middle of a conversation and you're hearing what someone is telling you, but your mind wanders off to, what's next on your to-do list, or, what you got to pick up when you go shopping, or the argument that you had last night, or, you start making conclusions about what you're hearing before the person even gets halfway through the point that they're trying to make. That is not active listening. And you have to catch yourself doing it and practice stopping it. All of this stuff is about practice. A good servant leader uses FaceTime as much as possible, and I'm not talking about the iPhone app. I'm talking about being there face to face with the people that they're interacting with, and that's getting more difficult, and it's changing as the digital and social network culture is growing. They also observe, they ask questions. Really listening is a bi-directional skill, right? So they ask questions, and they ask themselves, am I open to really hearing things that I don't want to hear? This is listening. And then finally for today, changing the pyramid. Ken Blanchard is one of my leadership heroes, Ken Blanchard, said, servant leadership is all about making the goals clear and then rolling up your sleeves and doing whatever it takes to help people win. In that situation, they don't work for you, you work for them. And that's really what changing the pyramid is all about. A great servant leader should be doing everything that they can do to help their team succeed. They do not only make sure the team gets the resources that they need to do the job, they are the team's primary resource. They understand that the power that comes from their position is a gift and a tool to be used on behalf of others. However, and I kind of talked about this a little bit before, importantly, they will not do the work for others that they are capable of doing for themselves, as this just kind of leads to disempowerment. So that's all for now, team. Next week, we look at the externally focused practices of the 7 key practices of servant leadership. The externally focused practices are foresight, releasing the power of others, coaching, not controlling, and a subject really dear to my heart, people development. As always, practice, and if you have any questions or feedback, I would love to hear from you. And thanks, and bye for now.